Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I've never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm gonna burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you with Toadstool Sports Monday. December 1st. Happy December, everybody. Terrible weekend for us. Don't really have anything else to say about that. Yesterday, 2 horrible losses out of the games yesterday. I don't even remember what they were. Utah Jazz. Again, I'm trusting the process here. The process put me on the Utah Jazz. Don't mind me as I'm messing with my wires here. Everything's messed up for me right now. Utah, terrible loss, obviously. I don't know, what was the other one? I don't even remember. Something in college basketball went wrong as well. I think, UTSA, not even close. Again, the market looked like it was in agreement with those. I'm trusting the process, trusting the handicap. Philadelphia 76ers probably could have gotten there. I mean, they had the lead for more of regulation than Atlanta did. Philadelphia, I think, had the bigger lead in regulation than Atlanta did. The game wound up going into 2 overtimes after Philadelphia made a late comeback after they did fall behind by some amount. Overtime, double overtime, and then they fall flat in double overtime. I mean, I'm just sick of it, man. I am sick of it. And we got the win on Washington. Luckily, every number on that covered. I mean, I got greedy, and I wanted the outright win with Washington at that point. I mean, that game, Washington was 100% the right side in that game. I mean, that was a wire-to-wire cover until overtime for them. And if you have an underdog of a touchdown, basically, and they go into overtime, I mean, you know you're on the right side of that one. Like, the game went pretty much exactly the way that I thought. Denver didn't put up a lot of offense, not really enough to cover a number like that. Washington hung in the game. They played pretty well. Mariota looked pretty good. Not a bad performance from Washington by any means there. And then it looked like we might lose it because I never actually saw the 7 at a price that I wanted. I saw like 1-7 at minus 120 come up, and I'm like, I'm going to I have to score it at 6.5. That's what I went with. Luckily, it hit. And if you watch the end of that game, I mean, I actually had it on. It was, man, I mean, that's one of those games where it's like really, really tough to stomach. And you look away because it was like so many times it looked like Washington had been able to do it and then didn't. And then, I mean, pretty much at that point, like, it gets down to the end of regulation. Washington's kicking a field goal in the last play of regulation to try to tie it. At that point, you're like, just miss it so we cover, please. Just lose by 3. No. It went into overtime. They made the field goal. It was an easy field goal. Goes into overtime, and then at that point, if Washington wins the coin toss, you're going to cover. Because if Washington gets the ball first, the worst that can happen is that they throw a pick 6, and then I'm pretty sure Denver doesn't have to kick the extra point at that point, and then it ends with Washington losing by 6. So they cover the 6.5 on that, although I guess if they played it late, they actually might have had to get 6 or 5.5. Hopefully not 5.5, but it was down a little bit, kind of in the 6 range late. But Denver won the coin toss, so that's bad because in overtime, teams are incentivized to score a touchdown. So I hate all that, dude. I think we need to go to like college overtime rules or something, because if you have an underdog like that, there's no way that you should be on the verge of potentially losing that play in overtime. It's just ridiculous. And of course, Denver did drive and score a touchdown. I mean, Washington's defense is not good enough. They did, and then at that point, it's like, oh my God, like this is pretty much all over. Like Washington's not going to be able to drive for a touchdown, because at that point, Washington has to get a touchdown to try to extend overtime, because that's the way that overtime works now. They're not going to kick a field goal to cover the spread, because right, I mean, they have to win the game. They have to get a touchdown. So I'm like, there's no way they're going to drive on Denver's defense, but they did. They did get a pass interference call on one third down play, I think, which it was the correct call if you're watching it. I mean, I don't like games to be like, I would be pissed if I was on the other side, but I mean, it was the right call, and usually you don't want games to get extended on a penalty like that, but you had to call that one. It was the correct call. It was definitely PI. So the game continues, and then we get down to, I was watching this game, and then you get a point where it comes down to 4th down again, and you're like, they're not going to do it, dude. Like, I think it got down to, I don't know, was it third? Maybe it was 3rd down, 3rd and 14 or something. No, before that happened, it was 3rd down. It was like 3rd and 4, and Washington was on Denver's side of the field. So you're like, okay, they're actually moving the football. Then they had this deep pass. I don't remember who the receiver was, but it was a touchdown. So you're like, holy shit. Like, they just tied the game. This is incredible. It gets called back for holding, which was a bit iffy of a call. I mean, holding of that variety happens. It was technically holding, but holding of that variety happens on every single play, man. And yes, it did involve a defender that was getting close to Mariota. You don't like a game to be decided on that. Of course, I'm not happy because it takes away the game-tying touchdown, and that could be the end of things. Now it's 4th down, it made it 3rd and 14. And then I think they missed a pass. I think it came down to 4th down at that point, if I remember correctly. So it was like Washington was on the verge of death the whole time. Then they got another huge passing play to Debo, and you're like, oh my God, they actually just did it again. But he got close to the goal line. It didn't get in, and then they actually marked him at the 2-yard line, where I thought he got to the 1. And I'm like, oh my, like, because it's 1st and goal at the 1. You're like, they're going to punch this in 4 tries. No, they're actually at the 2. They try to run it on 1st down, and Denver's right there knowing what they're doing, and they stop it for a loss of a yard. And now all of a sudden it's 2nd and goal at the 3. I'm like, this is not going to be good. Not good at all. They had some play that was, I think, an incomplete pass thrown out of the end zone after that. Next play, 3rd down. They got to do something here. This was the pass play again. It was to Ertz in the end zone. He had a good game, but he should have caught that pass. Should have been a touchdown from Ertz, and he did not haul it in. I mean, it would have been a fairly difficult catch, but that's one that he usually makes, and he had it, man. Like, he was trying to one-arm it, but, like, the way that he does it, like, he definitely has made catches like that many times. Absolutely a catchable ball, and he couldn't haul it in. I thought that they had it on that one. Now all of a sudden it's 4th down. Like, oh my God, they're actually going to lose. It's all over. Nope, they actually tie it with the touchdown on 4th down. Another pass play. I forget who the receiver was, but incredible touchdown. It was one of the wide receivers, I think, on like a slant or something like that. They actually get it, and then I'm like, well, they're going to go for 2 because, I mean, it's the right call. When you're an underdog, you're going to go for 2. You're going to try to win the game right now. Do not extend overtime. Washington's defense isn't that good. If they kick it and tie it, Broncos get the ball, and all they have to do is get a field goal to win. So, no, you're not going to give them the ball back. Go for the win right there. Correct call by Dan Quinn. And the play call was actually good as well. They called the timeout. I believe that maybe they didn't call a timeout there. They called the timeout before the fourth down play. I know I'm ranting here, but I was intent on this game, except on each one of those plays, I like turned away from the TV because it was like watching like a train wreck. And I'm like, this isn't going to happen. And like it looked like it had happened so many times and then didn't happen, but then it did. But then I'm like, okay, once they get a touchdown, you know they're going to cover. But now you get greedy and you're like, get the outright win here right now. It was a good play call, and Mariota, he dropped back. There was a blitz. He had a guy, I don't know if it was Debo again, I forget. One of his receivers was there in the flat on the left, and there was nobody in front of him. Like, if you get the pass to him, he's going to walk in, and they're going to win the game on the two-point conversion. And instead, one of the Denver defenders was in Mariota's face and swatted the pass down, and that ended it, if you didn't see it. It was unbelievable, man, because if he gets it a little bit higher over that defender, that's going to be an easy two-point and win the game there. Like, Denver basically sold out on rushing the quarterback on that play, and they left that receiver open in the flat. Man, and Mariota saw it. He was throwing it to that receiver, and it just got knocked down at the line. Like, it got knocked down right in front of his face, basically. Oh, my God. Anyway, we got the win on Washington, though. It was the correct call, so at least there was that. And dude, my pick 5, I won all of my picks in pick 5, except for the Baltimore one on Thursday, so I'm still in the money there. But I do have the Patriots, of course. And in that game, I think we're laying 7.5 with the Patriots, which I don't like as much as the 7, obviously. But I had Buffalo, Washington, which was 6.5 in the game, but that was a cover, obviously. And then I had Tampa Bay because they gave us 2.5 in that game, and the line was 4 when the game went off, and I'm like, it's on the right side of the key number. I didn't have a strong feeling really on many of the other games. For me, it was between that one and Carolina, and maybe I should have gone with Carolina because they won outright as a huge underdog, but Tampa Bay still covered that number, and they should have won by more if you watch that game. Tampa had the lead the whole game, multiple score lead the whole game. They wound up only winning by 3, but it got us the cover in that game on Splash Sports because it was 2.5. I mean, part of the reason I did it was because you're on the right side of the key number. So there was that at least. Pinsy, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. 10 in a row. Yeah, that's true. Over 2 days, I was 10-0. That's right. It might have been more than 10-0 going back to the previous day or into the next day. I'm not sure, but yeah. Missouri, there you go. Z, you're actually going to be throwing some bets down. Please don't blame me if they lose. Tower Gang NPC, what's up, man? Yes, I did go early today, and I don't want the show to be that long, although I just ranted about that game. Let's get into it. I don't like the college basketball board. I don't have any plays in college basketball today. I'm going to have an NHL play. I'm going to have 3 NBA plays today, and then you already know what my NFL play is, but I will talk about it again. For college basketball, I mean, we get this awesome noontime game between 2 0-8 teams, South Carolina State, Chicago State. Does anybody want to watch this game? I didn't think so. It's not even I mean, you could probably find a stream for it, but it's like not even televised, according to ESPN here. Chicago State is actually up to a 3.5-point favorite. I mean, you have to be really bad to be a 3.5-point underdog against Chicago State. Let me just put it that way. This is going to be one of the worst games of the year, man. It might be competitive just because both teams are so bad. Oh, my God. It's like which team is going to avoid losing? So if you want to watch that crap fest, I don't even have an opinion on the side. Temple Villanova, even though the line is not that competitive, this is a more interesting one because this is one of those Philadelphia area matchups here where Temple definitely considers themselves to be a little brother. I think they're going to show up here for this game against Villanova, man. Villanova, they do have Michigan up next, although it's not for 8 days, but maybe that is a bit of a look ahead. I think the game means a little bit more to Temple in this one. That is the way that I would lean. The money seems to agree with that one. Villanova is a 14-point favorite. 82% of the tickets on them. 81% of the cash coming back on Temple. Villanova also plays a very slow brand of basketball, so I always talk about that. Like, they don't put up high point totals, so that makes it more difficult for them to cover as a big favorite. So that's another check mark for the underdog in that game. Total also dropped to 148, so it's a pretty low total as well. So taking the points with Temple does make sense in that game. I mean, contemplating life decisions, that is, me as well. NFL was one of my worst pick'em weeks, although the late slate yesterday actually was way better for me, though. So, like, I had a strong opinion on Buffalo. Should have given it out as a play, probably. That was an easy winner. I got the Chargers right in my pick'em game, just the one where you have to pick every game on ESPN. After starting 0-4, I haven't been that bad for the rest of the week. Let's just put it that way. I've kind of salvaged it, at least to some extent, even though it's overall still a bad week. Like, I'm below 500, but not significantly so. And on the season, I'm still 20 picks above 500 on the season, picking every game. Charles, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Man. My voice is dying already, and I haven't talked about any games yet. Iona and Delaware. I would lean to Iona in this game. This was close to being a play for me. I'll just let you know. It's not going to happen, but they're coming up an ugly loss to Green Bay in that I think this was the battle. Oh, no, I was going to say it was the battle for Atlantis. It was not. It was the Virgin Islands Paradise Jam somewhere in the Caribbean. That was an ugly loss for Iona. They were like a 7.5, 8-point favorite against Green Bay, and they took the loss there. Now, Iona was already not going to be in the championship in that tournament because they took the loss immediately upon going out there against a pretty good Akron team. Then Iona bounced back from that, and they beat Oregon State in 2 overtimes. So I think Iona was just kind of hung over in the Green Bay game because beating Oregon State is still kind of a big deal because they used to be a Pac-12 team. Like, if you're a small school like Iona, that's a big win for you, and they were like a 3.5-point underdog or so in that game probably. And the fact that it went into 2 overtimes, I think they just didn't have a whole lot left in the tank, and they lost outright as the big favorite there against Green Bay. Now, coming back home with a week off, I expect them to bounce back. Or actually, they're not at home. They're on the road here, but I expect them to bounce back. They have only had 1 true road game so far, but it was a double-digit win at Kansas City. Kansas City's bad, but, they're playing Delaware here. Delaware is not exactly good. They're better than Kansas City, but that's not saying much. Delaware, their resume is not impressive, man. They have losses to Bucknell, a loss to a Division II Wilmington, Delaware team, a loss to Southern Illinois, and their wins are against St. Peter's, fairly mediocre there, and then Greensboro team that's way down this year, UNC Greensboro. So Delaware's resume is very unimpressive. They're coming back from Florida, I believe. Yeah, they were in Jacksonville, Florida to play there. So they're only traveling back from Florida, which isn't as big of a deal. Both teams have had a week off pretty much. So I think it's going to be a situation where I think both teams kind of come in fresh. Iona still on the verge of trying to bounce back. I think the fact that Iona gets all that time off after a bad loss, I think they're the right side in this game. They're the better team, as the odds makers are telling you. They're actually favored on the road. Iona likes to play really fast, and Delaware, they don't really slow it down that much. Delaware is somewhat on the faster side as well, so that's the way that Iona wants to play as well, except Iona just wants to go even faster. But I think that does kind of help Iona still. Iona's up to 1.5-point road favorite here, 67% of tickets and 88% of the cash on Delaware. But if I was going to play a college basketball game, it would be this. I would play Iona probably on the money line at this point, although you probably have to lay about minus 130 for it. But minus 1.5 also makes sense. 76% on picks, picking every single NFL game, that's almost impossible, man. That's insane. I've been running at 60%, and even that's virtually impossible. 76 is unheard of. I don't even believe that it's true. Unless you're talking about just picking 5 every week, because if you're talking about that, I'm doing really well. 5 every week, I'm 36-24 right now or something like that. So I have been running really well there, but that's not 76% either, I don't think. No, the Thanksgiving coming into this year, Favorites have been really hot on Thanksgiving over the last several years. Favorites were on a huge run on Thanksgiving, and it seemed like they were pretty much the right side in most of the games this week too. And yeah, I think the market kind of got the market read was wrong on all those games except for the Lions and Packers one, and I was wrong on that one. Pretty bad, really bad. Texans, I was kind of hesitant on that because I forgot to mention C.J. Stroud came back, so that set up a reverse injured players spot for the Texans there. And the late money came in on the Colts in that game, so although it seemed like there were differing opinions on that game, but the Colts wound up with more of the money coming in on them. I don't know. That game was really, really hard to figure out. 66%, that's still insane. I think you're ahead of me now after this week, I think. I was running close to that for a while. Yeah, the Kangaroos of UMKC. All right, what other games do we have to talk about? North Alabama and Jacksonville State. These are both Alabama teams, believe it or not. It's Jacksonville, Alabama. So it's an in-state rivalry game to some extent here. Jacksonville State is the favorite, and they're at home. North Alabama, they are road tested. I mean, North Alabama's played a difficult schedule, man. They played Mississippi State on the road, Clemson on the road. They did play Chattanooga on the road as well. Not as good, but and East Tennessee is pretty good. They did lose to them. So North Alabama, I mean, the record isn't great, but they are at least pretty battle-tested. Jacksonville State is not as battle-tested. They've had 3 pretty ugly losses in a row, including only putting up 43 points last time out against North Dakota State, which I think was in this Arkansas State tournament, whatever it was. Arkansas State was hosting it. Jacksonville State only has 1 win against the Division I team, and it was against Coastal Carolina, which is not great. However, in this game, Jacksonville State's laying 5.5 points. So the odds makers are actually telling you they are the better team. I mean, looking at their resume, I don't really want a part of it. The only angle I would see with laying the points here is that Jacksonville State's coming off a horrendous loss. Only putting up 43 points. You're probably going to want to bounce back from that, and that's really the only thing that I could say about that. North Alabama, they're not in a negative spot. I mean, they just ended a loss streak by beating a non-Division I team. I mean, that's a way to give yourself new momentum, so I don't have much else to say about that. We have Cincinnati hosting Tarleton State. Cincinnati coming off an ugly loss to Eastern Michigan, so you think that they would bounce back from that. So normally I would say that's going to put Cincinnati in a bounce-back spot. ESPN is being extremely unhelpful to my handicapping by not showing me the betting odds here. I hate ESPN, dude. I absolutely hate them. Where are the betting odds? Show me them. I know Cincinnati was a double-digit favorite here, though. And you remember I faded Eastern Michigan, I'm pretty sure, off of that game. And I think we got a win on that one. So Cincinnati, they should be in a bounce-back spot. The problem that I have with it is that they have a huge game up next against Xavier. Those are both Cincinnati schools, and that game is always a war. That's a huge rivalry. Those teams hate each other. So there is the potential that Cincinnati's looking ahead here. So I can't do it, man. I can't ask them to lay a huge amount of points here. Although, also the spot for Tarleton looks okay with the fact that they've won 3 games in a row. Not against good teams, but just to kind of continue their momentum. A couple of non-D1 teams in there. And Rice, in-state sibling, I guess if you want to call them that, Rice. Tarleton State, I mean, they won't be intimidated because they did play on the road already against SMU and LSU. They got blown out, but they at least are road tested in the extent that they played big schools already on the road. The money is coming in at Cincinnati, and I understand that. It's because Cincinnati's coming off that ridiculous loss as a huge favorite, so you got to think they're going to be embarrassed, and they will bounce back from that. But again, I worry about that Xavier game looming in 4 days. That's a huge game, so I'm not going to do it. But 18.5 is the number where Cincinnati is now. 71% of tickets on Tarleton State, 92% of the cash on Cincinnati. I won't disagree with it, but I have hesitations. And then, of course, Xavier is also playing today, and that means they're in a look-ahead spot as well because that Cincinnati game is coming up. Xavier against this bad St. Francis team, they're probably just going to get in, get out. And now, if Xavier was coming off that win they had against West Virginia, I might be recommending a play on St. Francis here, even though they're really, really bad. But Xavier did have a game in between those against A&M Corpus Christi and got that win. So that's kind of a momentum continuer. That would have kind of been the spot where Xavier suffered the letdown. And I think they might have still covered in that game. Of course, ESPN, again, is not helping me, not showing me the odds. They won the game by 21. I don't think they were favored by 21, but I could be wrong. Definitely a look-ahead spot to Cincinnati. I wouldn't disagree with the... Oh, and by the way, the Cincinnati game is the Skyline Chili Crosstown Shootout. Oh, man. You're going to be shooting it out of your ass after you eat Skyline Chili, although I actually like Skyline Chili. Melted cheese on that thing. They use cinnamon in the chili. I know I'm an Italian, and it's a disgrace to pasta, I guess, to put chili on pasta, but help me. Whatever, man. Sue me, I guess is what I mean. I like that stuff. But yes, St. Francis, PA, I mean, this team is bad, but the one good thing is they finally got a win against a non-Division I team, but that will give them some momentum, at least moving forward. And they at least have played Oklahoma and TCU on the road, so they played some big conference teams already on the road, so they at least won't be as intimidated. I do think St. Francis makes sense in that game, and I don't think Xavier's that good this year in kind of a transitional year here for them, but Xavier is a 27.5 point favorite as well, up from 27. Yeah, I mean, it is quite a few points to be taken there. That is what I would do if I was going to play that game. I actually forgot to handicap McNeese and Incarnate Word when I was going over these games here, so I'm going to do that real quickly. I don't think I'm going to see anything here. The McNeese is just on a nice run. They just had an easy win against Middle Tennessee, but that was in the Cayman Islands. Incarnate Word was out in the Boardwalk Battle. That was Daytona Beach. And then they beat some non-Division I team after that. So, I don't know. I mean, the travel spot maybe is a little bit better for Incarnate Word. McNeese is obviously the better team. I don't have a whole lot else to say. McNeese is up to a 9.5 point favorite. Seems like the money might be coming in that way. Maybe it makes sense. I mean, they are the better team, but McNeese only has one true road game so far, and they lost, but it was against Santa Clara in California, so they had to travel to the Pacific Coast for it. Santa Clara is a pretty good team. Incarnate Word is not very good, so it is a different setup, at least this time, but that's why you're asking them to cover a big number. I mean, they are coming off kind of a somewhat lackluster game against Middle Tennessee. It was pretty bad, so I don't know. We'll see. And then Kansas State is playing today against Bowling Green. Kansas State's coming off two difficult games against Nebraska and Indiana, and actually Mississippi State before that too. So Kansas State was in the Kansas City tournament, whatever it was here, and they lost in the final, I think, to Nebraska. They turned around, had to go on the road to Indiana, took the loss there. Now they're coming off of that, and they got Bowling Green. Up after this, they got Seton Hall, which is at least a Big East team, and they've been playing decently as of late, at least. I don't like the spot for Kansas State. I would like it less for Kansas State if they played Indiana closer, but Indiana had a total handle on that game the whole time. If Kansas State had played them like way closer, I'd probably be fading Kansas State here. I still agree with the Bowling Green side in this game. I just can't get there with it. Kansas State's a 12.5 point favorite. 50% of tickets, 69% of the cash on Bowling Green. Bowling Green off to a decent start this year. Like maybe they're one of the top half MAC teams this year, which I'm not really used to that being the case here in basketball, but maybe they are. But that game's a stay away from me. ESPN, yeah, I mean, you mean like ESPN picks can pick them? I mean, that's what I do as well. I think I'm at like 104 and 85 right now, or something along those lines. I don't know. I'm like close to 20 above 500 right now. Skyline, you got to go to Ohio to get it, though. So I don't know where you are, Charles, right now, but I think they only exist in Ohio. And they're in most of the major cities in Ohio, I think. I don't know if they're in Cleveland, though, because it's more of a Cincinnati thing. They're definitely in Columbus, but I don't know about other than that. All right, and then we have Cal Baptist in Colorado. Is actually an interesting game. Both of these teams are 7-0. Cal Baptist with Grand Canyon not there in the WAC anymore. Cal Baptist they're going to be one of the better teams in the WAC. They have, some decent wins in here against UC Irvine, Oregon State, but that's what they're coming off of. They just beat Oregon State on the road, I believe. That's not easy to do, man. Oregon State was certainly a favorite in this game, although I don't think they were a huge favorite. Yeah, I mean, again, ESPN's not showing us the odds, but ESPN had them as like almost a 60% favorite. So a small-ish favorite there. Now Cal Baptist is having to go into elevation. Now, they have not left the Pacific Coast yet this year, so that is a concern. This will be the first time. It's the first time they're playing outside of, the Pacific Coast. Going into Colorado, it's not going to be that easy, man. Colorado, they're a Big 12 team, though, so Cal Baptist will still get up for this. Colorado, 7-0, and it's kind of a better 7-0 because they did beat Providence, who's a Big East team at least. San Francisco is actually pretty solid. But now Colorado's coming up beating Washington, and that was in this Holiday Classic, which Colorado actually won it in Palm Springs, California. So Colorado's coming off a pretty decent win over a Big Ten team, Washington. Still feels weird saying that, and they won that tournament. And they have their big rivalry game against Colorado State next. So to me, the spot is not very good for either team. Like, I can't get either way. I can't get on either team here, man. Both teams, the setup is not good for them. I don't really know which one is worse, to be honest. The market read on this looks like the money's coming in towards Cal Baptist after Colorado's up to a 12-point favorite. 86% of tickets, 96% of the cash on Cal Baptist. It's a low total of 148.5, so taking the points kind of makes more sense in that respect. I do think the spot is probably worse for Colorado, but also the public might think that they're being sneaky. Oh, I'm getting all these points with an undefeated team. You know what I mean? Seeing the spread being that high, it's the odds makers are telling you who's obviously the better team, Colorado. I mean, we know that, but I don't know. Like, the recreational guys that think they're being sneaky taking the points here, it almost looks too easy to do that. So there's a lot going on in that game. Obviously, I can't give out a play on that. And then Portland is playing at Stanford. Stanford is coming up beating Minnesota and St. Louis. So some nice wins there for Stanford. They won whatever Palm Springs tournament they were in as well. Stanford did. They're staying at home here off of that, but they might not pay a lot of attention to this Portland team. And then they do have UNLV up next, which in the landscape of basketball, that is a bigger game than playing against Portland. Although Portland has only played one road game so far, one true road game, and it was bad. They got destroyed in that game by Wyoming. And I think Stanford is better than Wyoming, so, it's not a good sign for Portland going on the road. We will say that. They are coming off a win over Long Beach State, but yeah, I mean, I can't get there with either side of that game either. The money looks like it is coming in on the Portland side. I mean, they'll at least probably step it up for an ACC team, but Stanford up from 17 to 17.5 with juice. 67% of tickets on Stanford, 59% of the cash coming in on Portland. So, I don't know. That's the college hoops breakdown there. I don't have any plays. If I was going to give out one, it would be on Iona. That's the one that I like the most. I mean, this market is really shifting around. This is the thing about doing this show early in the day, too. Like, if you want to try to rely on market reads in any way, you got to watch the market kind of throughout the day. Like, I usually just rely on my situational handicapping. So, I mean, if Iona comes through, I'm going to be a little bit angry, but at least I can't be too angry when my, when my lean is correct. But I just get angry that I didn't feel stronger, feel more strongly about it. You know what I mean? We're gonna go to hockey in a second. I gotta reload on some water here, man. I gotta blow my nose as well, so I apologize. Something is going on with my throat, man. I don't know. Like, I do still have water here, but I don't know. I might need more. I don't know. Hold on a minute. I'll be right back. You can look at the hockey board while I do this. There aren't too many hockey games today, so that's the full board. I am gonna have a play in one of them. Maybe you can guess what it is. 1 second. All right, I'm back. Oh, man, I just turned my AC on, too, man. This is like, I don't know. Something doesn't feel right here this morning. All right. Hockey, first game up is, let me look. Columbus and New Jersey is the first one on ESPN's schedule, so I'll start with that. New Jersey, coming off a loss to Philadelphia, which that's a big rival. It's a pretty big rivalry game, I think. Teams have kind of like a split fan base there. So kind of a big game. It ended a 3-game win streak for New Jersey. I could see this being a little bit of a hangover spot here. And they do have Dallas up next, which out of conference game, but Dallas is still really good. And Dallas was pretty good in a bad spot yesterday too. So, excuse me. All that being said, I think I would lean to Columbus as the underdog in this game. New Jersey is going to be the public side, most likely. 58% of tickets, 60% of the cash on them for now. But the money line moved down from minus 155 to minus 144. I would lean towards towards Columbus in that game as the underdog. That would be my opinion in that game. It's not a very strong opinion, though, but I think the spot does set up a little bit better for Columbus as far as their schedule is concerned. They just took a loss to Pittsburgh, but I think they've had at least a day off after that. Let me see. They've had multiple days off. They haven't played since Friday, so they have the whole weekend off, which might help halt that losing momentum that they're on here. Single game road trip, but I think they will be focused. So Columbus, to me, looks like the correct side in that one, but that's not a strong one for me. My best bet is the next one, though, entering Jeffrey territory here. I don't remember if I made a play on the other game between these two, but we're going to go with the Pittsburgh Penguins this time against Philadelphia. The last time I gave out a lean, or I might have actually made it a play on Philadelphia against Pittsburgh earlier this season, which was also in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia won, although I think it was in overtime. These teams, of course, they don't like each other. I mean, they're cross-state rivals here, so it is kind of a revenge spot for Pittsburgh, so maybe that's a little bit of an extra motivator here, but I like the spot. I know I keep saying Pittsburgh's not as good as their record would lead you to believe, which continues to be true, but I just keep finding spots where I like Pittsburgh, man. We gave them out on the show against Buffalo, I think, and we got the win with that one. I'm coming right back to them this time, man, because they're coming off a loss on Saturday that was hideous. 7-2 loss to Toronto. If you dig into that box score, I mean, Pittsburgh outshot them by a lot, by 12, but some of that was because they were losing by a ton. They were down 5-1 at the end of the second period. So you can't take too much away from that. But, I mean, the physicality was close. The faceoffs were somewhat close in the game. So I don't think the game was really as much of a blowout as it looked. I think anytime you see 7-2 in hockey, it's going to be a little bit misleading. Like, hockey is just a closer sport than that. But also, anytime a team loses by 4+ goals or whatever, especially at home, they're usually in a pretty good bounce back spot after that. And for Pittsburgh, they get to go out on the road, just forget about what just happened at home. Pittsburgh is a pretty big hockey city, big fan base there in the city. So going out on the road, they don't have to hear what the fans are saying about that horrible loss there. Toronto is better than people think they are right now, though, anyway. Pittsburgh going out on the road, I think it will help them focus. They just get out of there, remove the distractions. Philadelphia's got a better record than Pittsburgh now, man. And I don't know if I totally buy into Philadelphia's record right now either. Philadelphia, they're coming off that huge win over New Jersey, like I said, but that makes it a letdown spot. But even worse, they're coming home from a road trip that they've been on since last Monday, where they went down to Florida. And after losing to Tampa Bay, they beat Florida, came back up to New York, beat the Islanders in a shootout, which beat me, I think. I think I had the Islanders in that game on the show. And then they beat New Jersey on Saturday, and now they're coming home from that. And I always talk about how teams are turning home from a road trip. Sometimes they can be a bit distracted. I know it's the Pittsburgh Penguins, your cross-state rival of sorts there, but even so, returning home when you've been away for a week, you got stuff to do back at home. I mean, they were on the road during Thanksgiving, too, so it might be a situation where maybe they are having to do some late Thanksgiving festivities, you know what I mean? Maybe they were doing that when they got back home. So to me, this looks like, I didn't even mention the Thanksgiving distractions that kind of add to the return home distractions here in NHL and NBA. But yeah, I mean, I think that adds to it as well. We're going to be on Pittsburgh in this one. I know Philadelphia's not really going to be looking ahead to Buffalo, but even so, I think it's a bad spot for them. They got 68% of tickets, 54% of the cash, and the money line is moving fast, down from minus 150 to minus 129. So it looks like the market is very much in alignment with me on this one, on the Pittsburgh underdog price there. Find whatever the best money line prices you can get. Like any price where you're getting Pittsburgh is a fairly decent size underdog, I think is good. So I think they have a decent chance to win the game, obviously, which is why we're doing it. Better than what the odds are giving you. Let's just put it that way. Like, I think it might be close to a coin flip in this game. So Pittsburgh is the play. They got a lot of advantages in that game. So I love those small underdogs where they're in a better situation. So, yeah, complete BS. They're up 2. I'm assuming that was in the first overtime. Yeah, with 4 seconds left. Maxey missed both free throws. I didn't even see that. That is such BS, dude. So basically, if he hit one, then Atlanta would have been forced to at least try a 3 to tie it. Yeah. And Maxey, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming he's a pretty good free throw shooter too, because he's a guard, and that tends to be the case. That's ridiculous. What is Maxey's free throw percentage? Like, I'd guess he's probably above 80%, and he misses them both. It seems like, dude, it seems like this shit is rigged. All right, for the rest of the hockey games here, we got Winnipeg at Buffalo. Winnipeg is struggling without Hellebuck here, but they did get a win in their last game against Nashville. Of course it was Nashville. So, I mean, they're not going to be overconfident after that win. I think it's a good win for Winnipeg because it breaks a 4-game losing streak, gives them some confidence, maybe gives Comrie some confidence moving forward here. They get another weak opponent here in Buffalo, at least, although they do have Montreal coming up in a couple of days, and maybe that is a bigger deal because it's a Canadian team and whatever. Buffalo is a team that a lot of teams are overlooking because they're not that good. But, I mean, they're an okay team. I mean, they can definitely compete, but Buffalo did just win against Minnesota in a shootout on Saturday, and that was a win for us on the show. That was our only hockey play, I think, on Saturday. And Minnesota was in a huge letdown spot of beating Colorado, so that was a nice spot to fade Minnesota. Buffalo got the win. They're coming back home. It was only a single-game road trip, though. I think they will be focused with Winnipeg coming in. But it seems like the money is actually on the Winnipeg side. Buffalo down from minus 113 to minus 110, even though they kind of look like an anti-public favorite. But I don't know. Thinking about the situation and looking at how the market is kind of trending right now, I think the market is trending towards Winnipeg. It looks like to me, at least, and I would kind of lean that way situationally as well, even though it does mean joining kind of a public side. But public, take that with a grain of salt in the NHL because it's not a very publicly bet sport. 82% of tickets, 86% of the cash on Winnipeg. I'm not going to disagree with the Winnipeg side, though, really. Anaheim is at St. Louis. Anaheim, I believe they're on a back-to-back. I think they're the only team playing today that's on a back-to-back, but they're only going from Chicago to St. Louis, so it's a short trip. But they did just lose to Chicago yesterday, so kind of an ugly loss for Anaheim there. They're definitely not as good on the road. Anaheim, we know they're really good at home. They're like a 500 road team. Going to St. Louis, I mean, I don't know if they're going to have full focus on St. Louis here. I mean, Anaheim is still on a third game in 4 days, all in different cities. St. Louis hasn't played since Saturday, so they didn't play yesterday, but they are coming off a decent win over Utah, 1-0. I mean, I don't know if that's going to put them in any sort of letdown spot. I mean, I don't expect them to overlook Anaheim, but if St. Louis wins this, I think they will sweep a 3-game homestand. The money does look like it's on the St. Louis side. Some of that might be just because Anaheim's in the back-to-back, but 67% of tickets on Anaheim, 62% of the cash. St. Louis down from minus 150 to minus 149. I won't really disagree with the St. Louis side there, but I mean, I don't really have a strong opinion there. But probably a slight lean towards St. Louis. Utah and San Jose is the last game. Utah coming off that loss to St. Louis, but they are playing a third game in 4 days in different cities. 4th and 6th, all in different cities, having lost the previous 3 of them. But now having to go out to the Pacific Coast here from Dallas and St. Louis. It's not an easy spot for them. They did lose the last time they were in San Jose in the middle of November in overtime. Does that mean San Jose is going to overlook Utah? Probably not. San Jose, though, they're coming off a difficult loss, 4-3 in Vegas, so I don't like the spot for San Jose, really. Don't love the spot for either team. But San Jose is playing a third game in 4 days, too, with a trip to Vegas in the middle. That's not that long of a trip from San Jose, but still, big game against Vegas, and they came to within one goal of Vegas there. And they did beat Utah before, so maybe, I don't know, maybe San Jose will slightly overlook them. Maybe there will be some revenge motive on the side of Utah. I don't disagree with the Utah side here. They're up from minus 150 to minus 162, so also interesting, the odds makers are telling you what to think because both teams have the same record, and San Jose's home record is better than Utah's road record, yet Utah's a pretty substantial road favorite. And the odds makers are just telling you San Jose is not as good as their record looks. So all in all, I would lean with that market kind of misleading number there too. So slightly into Utah, even though we see 65% of tickets, 76% of the cash on San Jose. I would probably be looking towards Utah, maybe a make your own -1 puck line. Because I did not like my experimentation with the win this game in regulation. All right, let's go to the NBA. NBA, we have, I think, 8 or 9 games, and I'm going to have a play on 3 games. Atlanta is at Detroit. Detroit could be in a little bit of a letdown spot. I mean, they just came off a win over Miami. That was a nice win, big win. It did erase a 2-game losing streak for Detroit, so maybe that will propel them forward here. They are having to come back home from Miami. They are playing a third game in 4 days and a fourth game in 6 days, bouncing all over the place. Boston back home, Miami back home. So I don't know. It's not the easiest spot for them, and they did just win at Atlanta on November 18th, so maybe Atlanta does have a little bit more motivation in this one. But the spot for Atlanta is pretty bad because, as we were already alluding to, they played a double overtime game yesterday to beat us in BS style. And now they're coming off not only beating Cleveland on Friday, but then going into Philadelphia and winning in double OT yesterday. So they're on a back-to-back, having to now travel to Detroit off of that. I don't love that either, man. Both teams are not in good spots here, so I can't give out a play or anything. The money looks like it's coming back on the Atlanta side. I don't really disagree with that, but do I want to jump on a team that just played 2 overtimes yesterday? No. And usually in a situation like that, you're going to see the money kind of coming in on the rested team. I mean, it does look like the line did move towards the Pistons, so probably for that reason, because I don't see any real injury issues here that would move the line up from 7.5 to 9 on the Pistons. I think it was all because of the Hawks playing the double overtime yesterday. 73% of tickets, only 57% of the cash on the Pistons. So market read for now. Looks like it is on the side of the Hawks. I mean, if I was going to play this game, I would go over. I'm not going to really disagree with taking the points with the Hawks, except, I mean, I don't want to play either team, like I said. So when teams are in bad spots, might be a little bit fatigued, whatever, it can show up on defense. So I haven't checked to see what was my over lean yesterday. I don't even remember. Don't remember which game it was. Don't remember if it went over or not. Maybe I'll have to look into it. But in this one, over makes sense to me in this one for those reasons. It's up to 233.5 juice to the over. 62% of tickets, 98% of the cash on the over. So do with that information what you will. Jeffrey, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Fatigue shows up on 3-point attempts. It does, but 3-point attempts are a smaller component of the game than defense is. So I think the fact that it hurts the defense matters more. Cleveland at Indiana. Cleveland just took another loss to my Boston Celtics yesterday. I could see this going both ways. I mean, Cleveland's on a back-to-back, and they have to travel to Indiana here. I mean, it's not a huge leg of travel, but it's a big game, man. I mean, they were looking for revenge against Boston because they got embarrassed in Boston. They couldn't get it done. On the one hand, maybe they'll be pissed because they lost as like a 7-point favorite. But on the other hand, it's a big game against Boston, so maybe they'll be hung over. So I could see this going both ways, and they did beat Indiana on the 21st by double digits. So I don't know. Maybe it is possible Cleveland does overlook Indiana a little bit again. I don't think they have a big game after this, though. So we're basically just looking at what these teams just did. Indiana on a 2-game win streak, so maybe they do have a little bit of momentum now, though. Are they going to be in a letdown off of beating Chicago? I'm not so sure. I mean, they were at home there. They're only a small underdog there. Chicago's been kind of bad, so maybe Indiana just has a little bit of confidence now and some momentum, and they're staying at home. I wouldn't really disagree with the Pacers in this one. The Cavs are down from 8 to 6.5 now. They're definitely going to be public. 80% of the tickets, 94% of the cash on the Cavs. The money kind of coming back on the Pacers. Now, I know the Pacers are the team that they're the team that eliminated the Cavs last year, right? But the Cavs did get their revenge sort of already by beating them once. So I think the playoff revenge motive is kind of not quite there anymore. I would probably lean towards taking the points of the Pacers, but I certainly don't want to get involved in that. No, man, dude, your bankroll, I would recommend not overdoing it with the bets, because you don't want you're going to have bad runs in betting. It just happens. You're going to have bad runs, and you need to be able to not get totally wiped out by that. When I'm giving out these plays, I'm recommending, basically the way that I would do it is every single one of my plays was 3% bankroll, and that was it. You know what I mean? Although a lot of guys just they do 1%, you know what I mean? Or they'll call I don't know, man, because I've heard Vegas Runner was basically saying that betting 5% of your bankroll on anything is crazy. But then I'm but what do the wager talk guys mean by a 5% play then? They don't mean 5% of your bankroll? I don't know. Because I think typically you want to have your unit size, I thought, be 1% of your bankroll. I mean, that's the way that I've been doing it. So I don't know. And then usually I was just putting the 3 units on everything. Milwaukee at Washington. Milwaukee did get a win in Giannis' second game back, so maybe they will start playing better, although it was against Brooklyn. But now they're playing Washington. Washington sucks too, so I think that's a good win for Milwaukee just because it breaks that really bad losing momentum that they had. So I think they're in a pretty positive spot. Washington did just get annihilated by Indiana, and they had the whole weekend off. So they're not in a bad spot either, really. So both teams are in positive spots in this one, which that is kind of an indicator potentially towards an under, but this total has plummeted from 237 down to 231.5. 70% of tickets, 93% of the cash on the under, so the money does seem to agree with the low-scoring feel of this game here. I mean, I don't have a good feel on the totals, though. Like I said, I'm just trying to think about it in my head. I think if teams are in better spots, they're going to be able to focus more on defense. Bucks are down from a 10-point favorite to a 9-point favorite. They're public, 75% of tickets. Public pretty much just fading the Wizards in every way. They don't want anything to do with the Wizards. 57% of the cash on the Bucks. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with taking the points just because that's kind of what I default to, is looking at home underdogs. But in the NBA, it's a little bit different because the points matter a little bit less. Both teams being in positive spots, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll agree because the market read looks like it is coming in that way, but not a strong opinion. More best bets time. Let's do it. First one up, I'm going to have 3 NBA plays. The first one is going to be the Brooklyn Nets plus the 4.5. This one, the market doesn't look like it agrees with me, but I have to think that the public is going to be fading the Nets here. So I think maybe this market read will look different by the time the game happens. Right now, we see 75% of tickets and 86% of the cash on the Hornets, but I do not like the Hornets in this game. I mean, the Hornets are still an ugly team, and you're asking this Hornet team to lay points on the road, which, by the way, the Hornets, they only have 1 win on the road this entire season, and it was at Washington. And yes, they blew Washington out, and yes, I know Brooklyn is basically as bad as Washington, but still, is this really a situation where you want to lay points with Charlotte on the road as a 1-8 team? I just don't think so. I know Brooklyn, all of their wins have come on the road. I know that they've sucked at home, but they got to get a win at home at some point, man. And, I called Brooklyn's first win of the season against Indiana, so I believe that was the case, right? If I'm not mistaken, I forget. But let's go with it here, man. I mean, Charlotte, they're coming off some big games here, man. On Friday and Saturday, they've got back-to-back wins in back-to-back games, playing back-to-back nights. They beat Chicago, and then they beat Toronto in overtime. And Toronto was a hot team, dude. And that ended Toronto's long win streak. So that was a crazy win for Charlotte there. Now that's what they're coming off of after not playing yesterday. They're starting a road trip. I do usually say that when you start a road trip, you have momentum, but this looks like it has letdown written all over it because that was a massive win over Toronto. And they were obviously an underdog as well. And up on Wednesday, they do have to play the Knicks, and then Toronto again, and then Denver, and then Chicago again, and then Cleveland, Atlanta, Detroit, Cleveland, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, which one of these games is the game that looks like the biggest flat spot here? It's got to be the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, nobody's paying attention to this really bad Brooklyn Nets team here. And for the Nets, they just got embarrassed on Saturday against Milwaukee. It was a single-game road trip. They're back home here for one game. I think they're going to want to at least show up for this after losing a bunch of games in a row. They also lost to Toronto, so that makes this look way too easy. Like, they lost to Toronto on Sunday in Toronto, but Toronto beat them by 10. People are going to say, oh, if Toronto beat Brooklyn by 10 and Charlotte just beat Toronto by 7 or whatever, then, and you're only asking me to lay 4.5 points here, that's so easy, right? You lay the points with the Hornets. I don't think it's that easy, man. I think Brooklyn shows up in this one. I think it's a bad spot for Charlotte. I think they might not have enough focus in this one. I think Brooklyn might catch them here. We'll take Brooklyn plus the points, man. Hopefully my Brooklyn whispering continues. I think it's only been that one really good one with Brooklyn, but let's try it again here, man. Point shaving, yeah, like guys are out there probably having money against their own team. Probably that is happening. Saab, what's up, man? St. Louis Blues in regulation. Why in regulation on St. Louis? You don't want to just lay the money line on them? I guess it's a little bit high, but I agree with both. I don't really agree with the Pistons. The Penguins money line is a play. I gave out that was my only hockey play. I gave out the Penguins on the money line, so I definitely agree with that one. Let's get it done here, man. Next up is another play. This one is going to be, dude, you know me. My plays are really difficult to stomach a lot of the time. This one's going to be hard. I can't even stomach it. We're going to go with the LA Clippers plus 6.5 against Miami. This is somewhat of a fade of Miami, although I actually think it's a positive spot for the Clippers. I mean, I think it's going to be good for the Clippers to be on the road because in all this losing the Clippers have been doing, their last 2 wins have actually come on the road. I know it was only against Charlotte and Dallas. Miami is certainly way better than those 2 teams. Obviously, I understand that. We don't need the Clippers to win here, though. We just need them to cover. But the Clippers, they've actually been really bad at home. Their first 3 wins of the season came at home, and they haven't won at home since Halloween. But their 2 wins since then have both been on the road. So they've actually been better on the road, and I think this is going to be good for them to just go out on the road here after they lost on Saturday at home to Dallas, and the Clippers were a 9.5-point favorite at home, and they lost that game, and that's just disgusting. So I think one of the best things that can happen for you is if you're not playing well, just go out on the road, man. I mean, that should have been a positive spot for the Clippers, so yeah, that does worry me because they came back home, they took a loss in that return home spot. I mean, that's understandable. It's a bad spot returning home, but for them to not pick themselves up, you know, it doesn't look great, but then if you look at it a little bit further, it was a back-to-back, so maybe you can excuse that. Just maybe they were tired playing on the back-to-back. Now they have a day off. I think this will be better, though, man. I mean, again, when things are going really badly for you at home, one of the best things that can happen for you is to go out on the road. You don't have to listen to what the media is saying. And, of course, the media in LA, they're always just talking about the Lakers. Like, it's all Laker shit. You know, people just, I don't know. People are just not fans of the Clippers, really. It's a sad situation for the Clippers. I think it'll be better for them to just be on the road here, man. And maybe they'll be able to do something here. The Clippers have had James Harden back, coming back from personal issues. I get him confused with Durant sometimes. But, yeah, Harden, he is back. I mean, he seems to just kind of he seems like a ball hog, though. I mean, this Clipper team, the problem with them is they don't run strategic offense. Like, their offense is basically like, oh, James Harden is going to take the ball up the court and James Harden is going to shoot it. It's like, maybe you could involve some other guys on your team. Like, I don't know, man. And I think Kawhi Leonard is back, but I don't know if that matters too much because he looks like he's too old at this point and injured too much, but whatever. But this is all about the spot, man. And yeah, hopefully Harden could just take over and get this thing done for us. But Miami, they're coming off of losing their long win streak. They had a 6-game win streak. And you know I talk about when a team loses a win streak, it can hang them over into the next game. And I think that might happen here. And in addition, that game was against Detroit. That was a huge game for Miami, and they were close. They were losing this game like pretty significantly for a lot of it. They were losing this game by almost 20 points almost at the end of the third quarter. They had a huge fourth quarter, man. They roared all the way back in the fourth quarter to get to within like 2 points in the final minute of the game and then still fell short at the end. That was a huge performance for Miami. So I think for all those reasons, this is a pretty major hangover spot here. So we are going to take the Clippers plus the points here. The money seems to agree on this one. 78% of tickets on the Heat. Of course, the public will only want to play the Heat. They're not going to want anything to do with the Clippers. And the Heat have been hot. They're going to expect the Heat to bounce back. Oh, it's just a loss to Detroit, right? Of course, they'll beat the Clippers. The Clippers are way worse than Detroit. Again, I agree with that. Obviously, the Clippers are worse than Detroit. But again, it's all about the spot. Only 51% of the cash on the Heat. We're getting extra line value here on the Heat. I don't think that it's because of any injury issue really here. I looked at the injury report. There doesn't really seem to be anything here. So I think we're pretty much getting what we expect, although Bogdanovich being out is kind of crappy for the Clippers, but he's been out for a bit now, so it's not something that's going to change the line day to day. So Clippers plus 6.5. Looking at the Clippers, yeah, are you going to do it? Don't lose all your money though, Jeffrey. Again, you got to money management is a huge part of this, man, because you can pick winners, but if you don't manage the money correctly, you could still wind up losing money. You know what I mean? You want to manage it correctly. All right, and then finally, we're gonna have another play. 3 games in a row on the board. We have plays. All of them are underdogs. We're gonna grab the Bulls, and I think the Bulls are basically at the bottom of their market price at this point, man. So we're going to come in and grab the Bulls at +9 in this one. I mean, the Bulls, they're not as good as they looked at the very beginning of the season, but they're not as bad as they look right now either. So we're going to come in and scoop up the Bulls now that they're below 500 and they've lost 3 games in a row, all to terrible teams. New Orleans, Charlotte, Indiana. Now, yeah, they're playing a third game in 4 days in different cities, but Charlotte, Indiana, Orlando. I mean, I'm not as concerned about that right now, especially because it's the last game of a road trip. And I do think that when a team has had a really bad road trip, I think they do try to get that win, man. They do show up and try to focus. So I think you are going to get focus out of the Bulls here. The Bulls have some slight injury issues going on here. They have a few guys Jalen Smith is going to miss the game. I don't really know the Bulls personnel that well. I mean, it's not Giddey or anything like that here, but just something to keep in mind because I think that's part of the reason why the line is so high. But Orlando, I mean, I don't know that Orlando should really be laying a price like this, even though they are at home. I don't know that they should be against the Bulls, who are still a pretty competitive team. I mean, the Bulls, they're below 500 now, too. So I think the fact that the Bulls just dropped below 500, that's going to be another motivator for them because it's just that mental thing. You do not want to be a losing team. You know what I mean? We're not a losing team. We got to go out there and get this win. And you don't even need them to win here. You just need them to cover. Orlando, after, starting the season trying to go fast-paced, I think that hasn't really worked. And I think maybe they're starting to play a little bit slower, which is what they should be doing, focusing on defense. But they're still without Banchero, remember. So their best player is still out until I think he might be coming back in the next game. So maybe they're even looking ahead to that at this point. But either way you look at it, Orlando is coming off a win over Detroit, man. And we had that one right. Me being a Piston whisperer, that was a win for us on Friday with the Orlando Magic. They got the outright win against Detroit. Remember, Detroit was in a bad spot, which is why we did that. Detroit had lost their huge win streak. They were going for a franchise record win streak, and the Celtics ended it for them. I thought they were going to be hung over into that game, and they were also returning home from a road trip. it was a double whammy for them. It was a bad spot. So Orlando caught Detroit at the best possible time. Now that's what Orlando's coming off of. They've had the whole weekend to think about that and bask in that. And now they're coming back home, probably listening to the media. Oh, this Orlando team, they're back, baby. They just beat Detroit. But it could be a letdown spot here, and they're returning home from a road trip. And even though it was only 3 games where they stayed in the Eastern time zone, it was a road trip that went through the Thanksgiving break and it lasted the whole week. You know what I mean? Like, they've been off since last Sunday. So I think they might come home. They might have some Thanksgiving stuff to get done, have to get stuff done around the house. You know what I mean? So, again, I think it's a distraction spot here for them. They do have the Spurs up next, and the Spurs are at least a winning team. So maybe Orlando does look ahead to that. They did beat Chicago, I think, already, didn't they? Oh, no, they lost. Excuse me. Chicago did actually blow them out early in the season. So, I don't know. Is there any revenge motive here for Orlando from that? I'm banking on it at least not being enough for them to cover a huge number here like this. Yeah, revenge. I mean, you don't want to overrate revenge. Like, I'll mention it as like kind of a factor that does also add to, leaning in that direction. But in this case, I don't think that it makes, I don't think it's enough to take me off of the Chicago side here. Let's just put it that way. And then again, for Orlando, they're looking to get Banchero back, man. It's not happening in this game, although if it was, I would still fade them. He's going to be out. It looks like he's supposed to be back next game. So again, they might be looking ahead to that game, but also the game that he comes back, you might want to fade Orlando because it'll be a reverse injured player spot. But of course, if he happens to surprise come back tonight, then taking the points against them does make sense too. He's not, though. He's ruled out. So we don't have to worry about that. But again, if and when he does come back, I think that is still a fade spot for Orlando because your star player is coming back. You're going to get line value fading that team because the line will overreact to it. I've explained it enough times. And the chemistry sometimes is not there again yet. So, all right. Let's finish it off. All right. Vucevic is returning home. Which game is that again? Fading Florida. Yeah, I mean, I'm fading the Orlando Magic. Oh, yes, I'm fading Orlando and Miami, correct. I didn't even think about that, but yes, that is true. It's the anti-Florida day today. Dallas and Denver. I mean, obviously, this looks like a pretty big mismatch. We know Denver's going to be a huge favorite. Dallas is playing a third game in 4 days, all in different cities. Well, actually, not all in different cities. My mistake. They played 2 games in L.A. in different arenas, and now they're going to Denver into Elevation after pulling off an upset over the Clippers. Still not a very easy spot for them, even though, yeah, ideally they'll want to show up to face Denver, but I don't know. It's a pretty bad spot for Dallas. Denver's returning home from Phoenix. That was a win for us on Saturday. Our one NBA play was a winner there with Denver. Pretty satisfying win for Denver, though. So I don't know. Are they going to be in letdown mode after that? I'm not really so sure. Returning home from only a single game road trip, not really a big deal. They don't have a big game up next against Indiana. So I don't know. I kind of lean to the Nuggets in this one. Spot is worse for Dallas. 79% of tickets, 93% of the cash. Nuggets up to an 11.5-point favorite. I would agree with the market in that one. That's probably the way I would go. Houston, don't really want to talk about this Houston-Utah situation as we took an ugly loss on that one yesterday. And now the teams are playing again today. It's a back-to-back for both teams, but you know what I talk about. This is a zigzag spot where Houston blew out Utah yesterday. And when you have a game that's, like way on one side of the fence there, and the game was like a blowout one, or, what do I want to call it? Like an outlier result. Like, what's the other word I'm looking for? Like when the game was like just way off in one direction. You know what I mean? It was an extreme result in one way. The move is usually to fade that result and to come back on the other side, especially because if you're Houston, you just beat this Utah team yesterday. So it's like, what do you have to fix? You have nothing to do. You have nothing to fix. For Utah, you have all the adjustments to make because nothing worked last night. So you're getting basically the same amount of points in this game too. So I think Utah is the correct way to look in this game. I don't really want to do it, though. I'm going to stay off of this one this time. Houston doesn't really have a look ahead. I mean, they only have Sacramento up next. That's not a big deal, really. So Maybe if they had a huge look ahead, I might be more tempted to be on the Jazz here. The money does agree with the Jazz. I mean, I still agree with it. 58% of tickets on Houston, 73% of the cash on the Jazz. I don't rely solely on the zigzag, although it is a decent handicapping tool. So that is the only tool that I have in this game. So that is the way that I will lean. Jazz plus the points. By the way, the money is agreeing with the Bulls. Just so you know, the Magic are up from 5 to 8.5 for some unknown reason. 62% of tickets on the Magic, 63% of the cash coming back on Chicago. So the money agrees with me on that one too. Just pointing that out. Money is agreeing on those games. Let me see. And then not agreeing with me on the Nets play for now, but we'll see. It is not agreeing on the Pistons, by the way, for now, just to point that out. Yeah, an anomaly. Yeah, that's another way to put it as well. And then we do finish the NBA slate here with Phoenix at the LA Lakers. Phoenix just took that pretty ugly loss to Denver at home. Remember, I talked about it. It was a bad spot. I mean, Phoenix had played Oklahoma City basically to the wire on the road the previous night. So it was a terrible spot for Phoenix. We got the pretty easy win with Denver in that one. Now Phoenix, after that ugly loss, they have a day off. They get to go out on the road. I think they will show up and be focused here. It's a positive spot when you don't have things going for you. You get to go back out on the road. Usually you will be focused to start the road trip. Of course, they will have focus when they're facing the Lakers. The Lakers are not in a bad spot either, except that they're on the back-to-back. So I guess that's the one thing and maybe a little bit of a concern. But they had an easy win yesterday at home against New Orleans. So, yeah, they're on the back-to-back, but they're also not traveling. So it's not the worst back-to-back. It's not as bad as the back-to-back that Phoenix was in that game against Denver. So, yeah, but the Lakers, it looks like something's going on with the Lakers because they're down to a 4.5-point favorite now from 10. It looks way too easy to play the Lakers, although would I want to come in and grab only 4.5 with the Suns on the road here? No, I would not. If the line was still at 10, yeah, I would say I lean to the Suns. 57% of tickets on the Lakers, 78% of the cash on the Suns. I agree with the Suns as far as the situation is concerned, but why is that line dropping so much on the Lakers? The only thing that I saw in here is that LeBron looks like he might not be playing, but like how could LeBron, does he really alone, LeBron, does just he himself move the line 5.5 points? I mean, that seems insane to me. Like, yeah, he's LeBron, like, you know, he's one of the best players in history, but at his age, does he really move the line that much? I mean, that's insane. So to me, it would seem like that line move is an overreaction. So I can't come in and say, yeah, you should take the Suns at that much, much lower number. No way. At the higher number, yeah, but at the lower number, I think you maybe even start looking the other way here. Yeah, I mean, that's the only real big thing on the injury report. Although Marcus Smart is listed here as well. He and LeBron, I think, both missed the game yesterday. But that's the thing. Also, if these guys both play today, then you're going to get some rested starters, basically, for the Lakers here with LeBron and Smart, because they both didn't play yesterday. So you got to think that maybe the Lakers, I mean, to me, I thought that it was a situation where I didn't even see it yesterday, but I thought that maybe what the Lakers were doing were, we don't really care about this Pelicans game. We can beat them resting some of our players, you know what I mean? Knowing that they're on a back-to-back, you rest some guys against the really bad team and then have them play against the better team, the Suns. So, but it looks like somebody's out for this game because the line's at 4.5. That makes me think LeBron's not playing. Smart not playing. I mean, he wouldn't influence the line that much either. The combination of them maybe influences the line that much. I mean, I still think it's an overreaction. Smart is a very good defensive player, but I don't think he really impacts the line very much just on his own. So, and LeBron, I mean, the line definitely does overreact to him. We will say that. So, yeah, I mean, that's a weird one. We'll see. The line move scares you. It's just extra value, baby. Getting more points on the Magic when you already like the Magic side. Yeah, give it to me. Whatever it is, it's an overreaction. The Knicks versus Raptors. You have Raptors against the Knicks in the NBA Cup in a week, which I guess is going to be, is that a revenge spot? go against them when they're in the look-ahead spot. I'll have to look. I don't even look that far ahead, man. I don't play chess with these handicaps, although maybe it's a good idea to do it to identify those spots. But like for me, like a lot of what happens has to do with what just happened in the previous game. So it's almost like there's almost no point in looking until then because you have to see what really happened in the previous game. You know what I mean? All right, and then NFL, I did already give out a play in the NFL. We're laying the Patriots -7. The market, I believe, agrees with that. I know we're on the public side in this one, but I think it's the correct side. I think you can get 7 on this one, even though the public is on it, which that does worry me kind of that, like, why have the books not moved it back to 7.5? But whatever. 73% of tickets, 74% of the cash on the Patriots. I still think they're the right side. If you saw my analysis on Saturday night, I think this is a bad spot for the Giants and a good spot for the Patriots. Now, the Giants, they just had a huge game against Detroit, as I pointed out in my analysis the other day. They took Detroit into overtime, man. It's double-digit underdogs on the road. That was a huge game for the Lions. And not only that, the Giants had the lead in this game. They were winning 27-17 in the fourth quarter. They blew the lead and then lost in overtime. I mean, you put in an effort like that as a huge underdog and you fall just short. I don't think it's good, man. Now they have to travel to kind of an unfamiliar spot, road, out of conference game. It looks pretty bad to me, man, for the Giants here. Not only that, but the Giants, they did pull some gimmicks against the Lions. The Lions weren't ready for. Again, the first touchdown was like a flea flicker where Wan'Dale Robinson wound up throwing the pass to Jameis Winston, who had 2 touchdown receptions in the game. And the other one that they had that was a trick play was from Gunnar Olszewski. I don't even know who that really is, but he threw a pass to Winston, and that was the one where Winston, I think, made that crazy move to get into the end zone. That was the touchdown that put them up 10 in the fourth quarter. Dude, this Giants team, I mean, their defense is also totally untrustworthy. I mean, this defense, they're giving up so many leads this year. It's crazy, dude. So this Giants defense, it's like they're on the verge of implosion all the time. And the fact that they're a bad run defense is also bad for covering as an underdog, because what's the favorite going to do if they're winning the game? Well, they're going to run the football. And the Giants are very bad at defending the run. And the Patriots have a decent rushing attack. So if the Patriots are ahead and they're running the football, that means they could extend the lead by doing that, because they do that okay. The Giants don't defend it well. And the Patriots running the football, they can actually still score against the Giants by doing that. So that looks pretty advantageous to the Patriots as well. For the Giants, Jackson Dart is coming back in this game. So reverse injured player theory is now in play here, where the Giants, now they get their starting quarterback back. I don't want to call him a star yet. I love Jackson Dart. I think he's better than Jameis Winston, only in that he's younger, so he does provide more of that, like, well, I think Dart is going to have a better career, but I think Winston has gotten screwed. Like, teams just don't want to play Winston because he throws too many interceptions, but you see what he does out there. He's a very dynamic player, man. I mean, he's a guy that you want on your team. I think Winston has gotten he's got really the short end of the stick throughout his career. I love Winston. I love Dart. But yes, Dart, I think he's better than Winston. He protects the football a lot better than Winston, and he can run more than Winston can at this point because he's younger. So yes, Dart is an improvement over Winston in those ways. I will say that, but he is the one thing that Dart does not have over Winston right now is experience. Winston does have more experience. And because Dart's coming back after having multiple days off, or multiple games off, or multiple games injured, and the Giants have played pretty well without him, man. I mean, the Giants almost won against Green Bay and Detroit without Dart. So now Dart's coming back. The Giants, I don't know, man. It is possible you just have that tendency to just kind of ease up a little bit as well, just because you know your star player is coming back. But he has to get back into rhythm again, man. He's been out for a while, so sometimes it'll take the quarterback a little while to get back into rhythm. I know I faded the spot with the Ravens going against Joe Burrow, and that didn't work out, but that wasn't because Joe Burrow was great in that game or anything. It was because the Ravens turned it over all the time in that game, and like the Ravens just totally mentally lapsed. I don't know what that game was. The reverse injured player spot, by the way, yesterday did work against Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers came back and It was not good for him in that game. Josh Allen only threw for 123 yards and still beat them. I mean, he didn't have to throw because they were winning the whole game, so they ran James Cook all over the place, but whatever. Anyway, another reverse injured player spot here. I do think that usually it affects the line, although in this case, I think the odds makers have not really moved the line. So I think the odds makers, they don't really consider there to be a huge drop-off between Dart and Winston. But that's still fine because I still think there's going to be that aspect of it where your player's coming back. He's got to get used to being in there again. The team has to get used to playing with him again. And for New England, I think they're in a positive spot here, man. I know I've been saying I don't think New England is as good as their record. They've played a pretty weak schedule. That's all true. But they're coming off a pretty lackluster performance against Cincinnati where they almost lost. And that was before Joe Burrow came back. That was against Joe Flacco. So I think New England will be in a more positive spot here, focusing on that. Yes, I know they have Buffalo next, but they do have a bye between the two, so I'm not really that worried about the look ahead. So I still think they'll show up because they had a bad game last week. Plus, they're at home on Monday night, man. I mean, do you really overlook a home? Like, I forgot to mention this on Saturday night. You're not going to overlook a primetime home game, especially when you're the New England Patriots, because when have they hosted a Monday night game recently? I know they got to host a Thursday night game, but the Patriots have been bad for a while. Now, like, basically since they haven't had Tom Brady, they've been bad. So, like, the Patriots have not had a game like this where they've hosted Monday night for, like, a long time. So I think it's going to be big for them. So I expect them to show up for that reason, too. So I do like all that as well. And the Patriots, I mean, yeah, the game against Buffalo is going to be big. Yeah, they need to hang on to the division, but the Patriots probably are thinking they still need to win because Buffalo did also win yesterday. So the overall record does still kind of matter here. And again, the out-of-conference games typically are worse for the road team. And the road team, you know, they're traveling to a place they're not familiar with as well. And it's the game that means the least on the schedule. But again, for the Giants, they're a dead team now. So it's like, which games matter on the remaining schedule? And yes, primetime games do matter sometimes, but I think they put way more weight into Green Bay and Detroit here, man, because those are teams in the NFC. Those are big teams. Yeah, I mean, I know it's New England. They're playing well. I know it's Monday night, but I just don't see the Giants having a lot left in the tank here, man. And they do have revenge up next, remember. They have a divisional revenge game next week. Or no, sorry, that's after a bye, actually, my mistake. After a bye, they do have divisional revenge against Washington, though, so maybe that is a little bit of a look-ahead spot. That's going to be a big game for the Giants just because it is a divisional team that they already lost to, so they're going to want to get that win. And I think they might, by the way. So maybe a way to look in that game. Coming up in 2 weeks, if the Giants have a really bad game here tonight and then they go into a bye, they're going to be coming out of that bye having fixed some things and fresh, so maybe something to look ahead to there with the Giants against Washington the following week. So Patriots -7, though. I think you can get the 7 out there right now. I think it's pretty abundant. Don't want to lay the 7.5, although I am in my splash entry. We have the 7.5, so I just have to do it. I mean, it's the last game that I have on my card, so I'm doing it anyway, even though we're on the wrong side of the key number, and we also are in Pick'em on ESPN. So I don't love that, but we're doing it, but for the betting purposes, you can get the 7 without the hook, I'm pretty sure. So there you go. Easiest schedule ever. Yeah, Patriots are beating bad teams, but guess who also is a bad team? The Giants. So, yeah, I mean, this is another one of those bad teams that the Patriots get on their schedule, man. So, I don't know. I just think it's going to be another game where they do it. They didn't cover last week. Bad performance against Cincinnati. So I think that might give them a little bit of a scare. That one was on the road. And they're also at home and laying fewer points this time than they were on the road, I think, against Cincinnati. So it's interesting. Anyway, that's going to do it. My plays one more time. We're skipping college basketball today. We have, in hockey, we have the Pittsburgh Penguins on the money line. NBA, we have Brooklyn Nets, Clippers, and Chicago Bulls, all plus the points. And then New England Patriots -7 in the NFL Monday night game. That's going to do it. Learn us out on Twitter. Learn us out on Instagram. Like, subscribe to the channel here. Give me good comments, etc. Give me a good review on audio. Apple and Spotify helps me out as well. Listen over there. That helps me out too. Although my voice is horrible. I need to... Dude, I always I just talk way too loud, dude. I I don't know. I got to somehow, maybe I should put my headphones back on and just somehow lower my voice by hearing myself in the headphones. I don't know. I don't know how I can do it. I just can't do it. I don't know. Patreon.com/LearnToToad, and you can get some bonus Uke content. Uke Spotify feed that I know. I always say I have to keep it up to date. I know. And you can get Uke requests there as well. Covered in Uke is my Uke channel on YouTube. Be on the lookout for Losercast whenever that's starting. It might start this week. It could be as early as tomorrow night. I don't know, but that's going to be the new comedy-ish panel podcast, hangout podcast with me, Leighton from Outlawed Thoughts, Tyler Yonke from Libertarian Podcast Review and whatever else he does, and also famed for being the behind-the-scenes producer of Tower Gang. And then, again, two guys also on the panel who I have no clue who they are, who I guess are friends with Leighton. I don't know, but hopefully we can do something with that show. Hopefully it's funny. Hopefully people like it. Hopefully it takes off. Who knows? And I might be back. Like I said, I'm going to probably do a show here on the channel where I fill out my college women's volleyball bracket, which I was almost going to do it last night at midnight or whatever you want to call that, but I didn't see the odds on it, so I'm waiting for betting odds to come up. But I did find a women's volleyball analytics site, like a power rating site, and they have the tournament projections with the percentages, so I actually might just use that to fill it out and try to find, leverage spots to fade the market that way. So it'll be interesting, man. So I might do that. It'll be a weird show. It'll be a special. I might do that. Maybe I'll do it tonight. We'll see. So be on the lookout for that. If you subscribe to me here, we will, if you subscribe to me here, then you'll see it come up. You'll get the notification for it. Thank you, sir. Yep. I'll see you later, man. Yeah. The toad in my throat, and I am one myself. So, yeah, there's a mini fridge behind me. That is true. I used to have it stocked with beer when I was not sober, but now I am sober, and I have it stocked with non-alcoholic beer now, man. So, dude, I kind of like it because you want to experience like the craft of beer, and non-alcoholic beers were lame for so long. Where it's just like, oh, you just get like, whatever, Heineken Zero and whatever. And it's like, yeah, it just tastes like a weaker Heineken. It's pretty bad, whatever. Like, there's nothing to do here. But now, so many people are going sober now. There's this whole industry with craft beer now, and they're making these things better and better to the point where these are actually like good beers and they're non-alcoholic. So that's what I have in there now, man. I'm actually enjoying it. So that's what I'm doing. That is, I have my fridge back there stocked with some of those. So, yeah, I'll whisper, man. Yeah, we'll see. Thank you, sir. Women's volleyball. If you want to bet it, yeah, the show won't really have to do with betting. It'll be filling out the bracket, although, of course, betting seeps into everything. So, yeah. The strategy of it, well, I'm going to use, it's more like game theory, like bracket strategy, where you want to like go against, like you want to find spots where the public is overpicking a certain team. So like I can tell you right now that everybody is picking Nebraska to win this thing because they're undefeated. And I'll have to refresh my memory because I know they were one of the best teams last year, but I think that they didn't win it last year, if I remember correctly. I think Penn State might have won it, but I got to go look. I got to refresh my memory on that. I might be wrong about that. But what I do know is Nebraska, everyone is picking them, like probably to too high of a percent, even though they're a dominant volleyball team. But I'll talk about it on my show. Like I think they're probably being overpicked, so it might be a situation where there might be a little bit of an edge in picking some other team to win it, and fading the team that still obviously has the best odds to get it done. Like Nebraska is still that team, but yeah. I don't know. What does that mean? They will not set up a team. What does that mean? Oh, they're playing against Indians in volleyball, I guess. I don't know what that means exactly, but all right. As long as it doesn't look like the volleyball scene from Top Gun, and then you're all good. Yeah, women's volleyball. This is unfortunately not beach volleyball, though. This is regular volleyball that they play indoors in arenas, so it's still fun to watch. There's still some hot college women playing that volleyball there, but they're not wearing like, thongs and whatever like they are on the beach. So they're wearing like tight shorts, but that's still not bad. But yeah, I'll be back for it then. Peace out for now, guys. Thanks.